CIS-332. This is database and SQL. Database and SQL. All right. What we talked about in the outline in section 2, we started talking about conceptual database. This is where we look at probably the entities primarily, what entities would make up the database, and how they would link together. From there, then we develop the logical view in which we create tables. And we have an entity here, entity here. We start looking at what attributes represent those entities, and then how we may link them together. The physical, we need to know that exists, but that's how the items are actually written to disk. If you're using disk, nowadays we have more than disk. We use that as a general term. We have solid state storage and so forth. So in conceptual, we don't even worry about the attributes. The logical is how we see it, and then there's some physical way to write it to the actual storage and bring it back out of the storage. Okay? We know this exists, but we don't deal with it. What we deal with is looking at the conceptual and then forming the logical. So how do we approach that? Okay? How do we approach that? The method we're going to look at here, I'm going to move this over just a little bit. Alright, we could look at how to design this. We're going to take a structured or top-down approach. Analysis, we figure out, what they want out, which would tell us then what we need to put in and how we process it. Analysis would be everything, the entire flow of the data and so forth, in which then we can design how to store the data. We can actually design the tables, create the links. Development would be actually creating the tables. And then implementation is putting it into use and then evaluating it and make sure it works. During the analysis stage, we have this feedback. We put together what we think is going to work, then we get feedback, we get all the stakeholders involved. In the design, the same thing, we design it out, we check, see if that's going to work, get feedback. During development, even as we're putting it together, we get feedback to see if that's going to work. We implement it, and then the big feedback here would be the evaluation, to see if we need to change anything. So we work with the client, and it's very important to have everything well documented. And that's it. Okay, so we have this process or this flow in terms, we look at the conceptual, take that, divide it into logical, and you'll see me draw these tables all the time, these entities. We take the entities we decide here, put them together, start figuring out attributes, and then eventually that can flow into our database management system. That's it.